My name is Dan Schmitt. I do a weekly TV show called Team Chicago Challenge. The website is teamchicago.tv. Teamchicago.tv. We're here for Neal Keen's birthday in St. Louis. I came down here with a couple of my friends, Jim Viverito, Chucky Weber, and Betzel Smith. We had a great trip down, but we have a better time here. We show some of the highlights, some of the people I had a chance to talk to, some of the cool motorcycles that are right here at Donelson in St. Louis. And don't forget the website, teamchicago.tv.
A couple hundred friends of Neal Keen showed up to celebrate his birthday. We're at Donelson's in St. Anne, Missouri. A good-sized motorcycle shop. As we see this footage from Santa Fe Speedway, 84 in 1971. This footage from 1971 was Charlie Chapple. His normal national number was 36, but that's Charlie Chapple, number 84. And I had a chance to talk to this track champion from Santa Fe in 1971 and a dear friend of Neal Keen's.
Charlie Chapple, 36, Flint, Michigan. Yeah, I was born and raised to race at Santa Fe Park in Chicago. We did that from the late 60s to the mid-70s. Several times I was the track champion there. And I was fortunate enough to be adopted by Neal Keen and his wife, and they took my wife and I under their wing, and we traveled the country, and Santa Fe was one of our more favorite places to go.
So what was the trick? What was going fast to Santa Fe?
Just having the right equipment and knowing what was going on with the racetrack and knowing the racetrack. It was more or less like playing the same course over and over again. So you knew what you needed when you got there. And my trick to the whole thing was I worked for Neal Keen, and he knew all of the tricks.
Dave Aldana was a great star of the movie On Any Sunday, and he was a friend of Neal Keen. So let's listen to his story.
Neal, I met Neal and actually Daryl Dove at the same time. When I was an amateur, my first adventure to the east, this is obviously the Midwest, but the furthest, my first stop was here in St. Louis, and that's where I met Neal and Daryl. And we used to go over to a house down the street from here where we would work on our motorcycles underneath a 60-watt light bulb on a dirt floor. Neal Keen would be on one side of the garage, and Daryl on the other side, and I'd be in the middle somewhere working on our bikes before we go to these non-national events and get a chance to ride Neal's Yamaha short track bike that he had. I think he used me as a guinea pig a little bit to try some stuff out. But it was there that I learned a lot of things in regards to gearing and tires and the stuff that I would have not learned had I not hung around with somebody. Because I really didn't know anybody, and they were very understanding. You know, I was just a rookie green kid.
Thank you, Charlie, and thank you, Dave. As we see, number 10, Neal Keen, who won the national at Santa Fe. He won the national at Ascot. He was the track champion at Santa Fe Speedway in 1969 and 1970. He developed the DT1 250 Yamaha engine. Got the two-strokes running in short track. Neal Keen was one of the most important flat track racers of that era from the 60s through the 70s. This video footage is from Santa Fe Speedway, probably in July 1971. Instead of number 10, the AMA assigned him number 55. Unique to that year only, 1971's 54 coming by is Robert E. Lee. As we see, Neal Keen going on to pick up the heat race win at Santa Fe Speedway. He was the track champion out there in 69 and 70. As we see Neal Keen battling in the final with Robert E. Lee, 54 and 55. Robert E. Lee's on the OSA DMR. Neal Keen is on the Trackmaster frame Yamaha 250 DT1. Classic battles at Santa Fe Speedway. Neal Keen, the godfather of flat track racing, short track racing, just as James Brown was the godfather's soul, Neal Keen was the godfather of short track racing. Neal Keen, number 10, a great champion at Santa Fe Speedway, a great mentor to many motorcycle racers. BSA wins the Ascot race. This is on the Gold Star BSA. Neal Keen, what a great racer, what a great friend. As we see Neal Keen talking with Steve Morehead on the right, Dave Aldana on the left. But with all his friends at Donelson, I did not have a chance to interview Neal Keen. But we're going to hear from Jim Viverito, an AMA board member, and Steve Morehead, an AMA referee, as they tell us about Neal Keen and racing with Neal Keen.
Here at Donelson Cycles in St. Louis, and we're at Neal Keen's birthday party. You know, Neal was national number 10 for all those years, a member of the BSA wrecking crew in Ascot Park in Los Angeles. Then he came to the Midwest and was the short track godfather of all the guys that raced at Santa Fe Speedway. We love the guy, and we're here to wish him well and have a good time helping him celebrate his birthday. I can't say enough good about Neal Keen. He's one of my heroes, going back to the very early days when I was in high school and discovered motorcycle racing. It was guys like Neal that were good role models for me and got me into motorcycle racing, and I will be forever grateful.
Steve Morehead. You know, I heard the name Neal Keen when I was young, and he was actually one of my heroes, you know, with Rotor and the Rawls, and I heard about Keen and, you know, everybody that he'd helped through the years. You know, I know he did a lot for Dave Aldana, as long as a lot of other riders, Charlie Chapple, you know, as far as nursing these guys and bringing them along and basically showing them the ropes of what it's like to be a professional motorcycle racer. I mean, my favorite story is one year at Daytona, I had my van down on the beach. I went up to buy T-shirts, and then by the time I came back down to the ocean to get my van, it was in about maybe an inch of water. Well, by the time I went out there, put my van in gear to back up, the thing just literally sunk because the tide was coming in and coming out. And by the time I called to try to get some help to get it towed out, because believe me, I had visions of standing on top of this Dodge maxi van in ankle-deep water. So we get it out, and I run down to the car wash. I stand on my head, I'm washing the bottom of it, trying to get all the salt water and everything out of it. So I told Neal about this. He said, Morehead, you just go ahead and race tonight, I'll take care of it. And I'll be darned if Neal didn't stay outside the old municipal stadium, take the alternator, the starter, and everything, all the electricals out of my van, clean it all up. And he told me, now, Morehead, when you get home, make sure you go get the oil changed and all that right now. You told me all this list of things I should do. Well, Neal fixed the starter, he fixed the alternator, it ran, so as he just mentioned today, Morehead, I know you drove that thing back to Ohio before you did anything else to it, and that was a true story. So it was like my hero, and all of a sudden Neal stepping up, told me, you just worry about racing, I'll take care of your van. I thought that was probably the greatest thing anybody's ever done for me.
We're going to end this clip with some footage from the movie The Thrill Is On, starring Dave Aldana.
Aldana and his BSA have been a great combination in recent years. He was the #1 junior rider in the nation in 1969, winning 7 major junior events. The following year, his rookie year as an expert, he was tagged Super Rookie, winning 3 national championship events. In both 70 and 71, he ranked in the top 5 in the national standings and is a wide-open, crowd-pleasing type rider who was a born cycle racer. Aldana, another product of Ascot Park in California, has perhaps walked away from more 100-mile-an-hour plus crashes than any other rider in competition, and has yet to even on engines due to the fact of the sustained high speed and full throttle locks by some of the quicker riders such as Aldana.